There is a chilling reality that haunts the families and the communities of Kentucky. It's the truth about the unsolved cold cases that seem to have slipped through the cracks of time. They're chilling stories hidden by whispers of fear and small town retaliation. Also, rumor and speculation are handed down from generation to generation. The hollers and hills of Kentucky simply refuse to give up their secrets. What truths lie buried in these cases, just waiting to be dug up? Each of these cases represent a unique individual with a story that deserves to be told. These unsolved cases cast a shadow over the Bluegrass State, carrying whispers of dark secrets that may be hidden just beneath the surface. Let's journey back in time to 1988 to the quiet backroads of Laurel County, Kentucky, where a routine traffic stop goes horribly wrong. Join me as I unravel the chilling mystery of the death of Kentucky State Trooper Johnny Edrington, a case that has haunted the community for decades. Prepare yourself for a shocking twist that came 30 years later. Let's dive in. Johnny Edrington was a native of Taylor County, Kentucky, born on September 7, 1954. He served as a United States military police officer during the Vietnam War. He also worked with both Campbellsville, Kentucky Police Department and Taylor County Metro Police Department prior to becoming a Kentucky State Trooper. At the time of his death, he was 34 years old and newly married to Diane House. They were eagerly awaiting the birth of their first child. He was stationed at the London, Kentucky Post and was known to be an experienced officer with no enemies. So what really transpired on that night in 1988? In 1988, London, Kentucky was a tiny little town located in the southeastern part of the state within the Appalachian region. This area is known for its natural beauty with the Daniel Boone National Forest nearby. The region has historically faced economic challenges, and in the late 1980s, those challenges would have been very present. Possibly poor without opportunity for wealth, but extremely rich with a sense of community. This is a tragic case that many Kentuckians like myself find suspicious. Trooper Johnny Edrington was killed in the line of duty on December 20th, 1988. He was shot during a traffic stop on Kentucky Route 80, approximately 7 miles west of London in Laurel County, Kentucky. His body was found in a ditch, and it's believed that he was shot with his own service weapon. The local newspapers said that Edrington was gunned down December 20th on Kentucky 80, about 7 miles west of London, shortly before his shift was to end. He died from one shot to the forehead from his own gun. Police think Edrington had stopped a speeding motorist who overpowered and killed him. Captain Lyle, a spokesperson for the police, said the circumstances of his death, a lonesome stretch of road with no houses around, it makes a case very difficult. He also said, we're just waiting for new leads. Somebody did it and somebody knows. Until we have someone come forth with the right piece of information that can tie a person to that scene, it's going to be very difficult for us. The article goes on to say that a Texas medical examiner worked with Kentucky medical examiners to determine that the shooting death of Edrington was a homicide. The state hired Dr. Vincent DeMaio, the county medical examiner in San Antonio, as a private consultant. Nichols and Dr. John Hunsaker, the state's associate chief medical examiner, tested firearms, reviewed ballistics reports, surveyed the homicide scene, and checked background circumstances and physical evidence in addition to the autopsy report. We spent an extreme number of hours on this case. We reviewed massive amounts of data. The death of Kentucky State Trooper Johnny Edrington was ruled a homicide, and that case lay cold for 30 years until a well-trusted source came forward with a shocking bombshell. Decades after the mysterious death of Kentucky State Trooper Johnny Edrington, Doug Asher co-authored a book called Harlan County Sun. Doug Asher was the Kentucky State Police post commander in London on the night of December 20th, 1988, when Trooper Johnny was found dead of a gunshot wound on the side of Highway 80 in Laurel County. In this book, he left details about that investigation that are contrary to every statement the sworn official signed in that investigation. In the chapter titled The Big Gray Cover-Up, The True Facts Behind the Death Investigation of Trooper Johnny Edrington, Asher addresses parts of this well-known case that have not previously been made public. Quote, "I think it's time we clear all of this up before we all die and can't talk back," Asher said. "I think it's time to clear this mess up." I'm reading from an article done by Lex 18, where Asher said that no evidence at the scene indicated another person was there at the time of Edrington's death or that there was a struggle. He said that Edrington's uniform was in perfect condition. Edrington was killed with his own agency-issued firearm, and the gun was in his hand when he was found, Asher said. Kentucky State Police have said that Edrington was killed by another person during a traffic stop. Asher said that the reasoning higher-ups gave for ruling this case a homicide included a dent in the hood of Edrington's cruiser and the fact that his radar gun had locked in after clocking someone going over the speed limit at some point. Now, Asher goes on to claim that he got pressured to investigate this case as a homicide, and that not only he, but the county coroner and the assistant state medical examiner all agree that this gunshot wound was self-inflicted. When asked why come forward now, all these years later, and put this out in a book, Asher said that he did take this information to Kentucky State Police several times. And he says it's just the right thing to do. Time to clear this up. Well, I disagree. I think the time to do the right thing was back when this occurred. Does that mean that Colonel Douglas Asher gave a false report? I mean, I'm a little confused as to what the implications of his involvement with this case are now. Can anything that he reported be trusted? And there was already a lot of suspicion about this case. Now there's even more in my mind. I don't know what I think about this. How about you guys? I mean, in order to believe him, you have to disbelieve what the Kentucky State Police says. For me, this book just creates more questions than any credible answers because, in my opinion, the book does not explain the crime scene. It doesn't explain the gun in the wrong hand. And if this young man were planning on taking his life, why was the spotlight on? Why did he need a flashlight? How did dents get in the hood that were not there previously? Also, explain why he worked a full shift prior to coming to this decision. Explain officials covering and lying for decades. It just doesn't make sense to me. What do you think? In essence, Trooper Edrington's death is a somber reminder of the risk faced by law enforcement officers and the overwhelming pain that's left behind when a crime goes unsolved. I want to know your thoughts. What do you think really happened to Trooper Johnny Edrington? With that, we're going to conclude part 1 of Kentucky's Unsolved Cases. I truly hope you're as fascinated as I am, and that you will join me for part 2. Meanwhile, let me know what other chilling unsolved cases across the Bluegrass State interest you. What hidden stories and secrets do you think that we should explore next? I do appreciate you taking the time to watch, and if you'd give me a like, that would be great. Until next time, guys, take care.